Is anyone respond? Okay. So let's begin the class. So in last lecture, we were discussing about timer. Okay. So let's go inside there once again. Okay. What's timer like? How like particularly timer works for 8051. So let's assume to explain what's timer like how we are going to count time using timer. Let's assume we are in uh, some assembly line. Okay. Let's say we are at the plant of Coca-Cola. Okay, so we are at the plant of Coca-Cola. What we are going to do is we have seen that assembly line where the production is going on. Okay, and the packed bottles are coming out. We are at that station where the packed bottles are transferred on your conveyor belt. So let's suppose this is your conveyor belt. Okay, so there would be a pulley like this, and this belt is continuously going on, and here it's a bottle like this. Okay, so you have this kind of bottle over here. Now assume I ask you that you are viewing, you are standing over here, okay, and I ask you like if one bottle per second is rate of bottle transfer. Okay, one bottle per second is rate of bottle transfer. That means this conveyor carries a bottle at one bottle per second. Okay, so after each 1 second there is like one bottle is going out and one bottle coming in. Okay, so if there is a drop box here, after each 1 second you are dropping a bottle here. That's the point. Okay, now if I ask you how many numbers of bottle will be transferred in 1 minute, what would be the answer? If this is the rate, what will be the number of bottles dropped here in 1 minute? Can anyone answer? That's very easy question. That's very basic math. Sorry?
60.
60. Correct. 60 bottle is there. So 60 bottle will fall inside here. Why? Because if 1 second one bottle, that means we are 60 seconds. So there would be 60 bottles. Now let me ask you a question in different way. If I have 120 bottles in here, okay, I have 120 bottles there, so what would be the time required?
2 minutes.
2 minutes, correct. So uh, 2 minutes this time. How you find out the time? You again know that one bottle per second. Okay, one bottle per second. But now what I have to find out is number of bottles. Sorry, I have number of bottles, so I know 120 is the bottle. And what is the time? I'm going to find out the time. Okay, so that's very easy question. Same way we are doing same thing with the timer. See, this is my timer. This is my timer. Number of bottles are dropping here. So same way in timer, what happens is we have in timer, like this is my timer. Okay, what is timer? Timer is basically a 16-bit register comparing two resistors, that is TH and TL. So now if I say this timer is incremented after each pulse, what does that mean? This each pulse is kind of my bottle. This is my bottle. Okay, so if I accumulate 100 over here, what does that mean? With respect to this example, is that means 100 seconds has been passed. Okay, so we are doing same thing, but just aspect is different. Okay, so my bottle is basically this wave coming in. Okay, and this unit where I am dropping the bottle is basically my timer. Okay, so what I am doing actually with my timer is uh, so what I have here is my timer, let us say this is my timer. Okay, there are two resistors, but right now I am just writing it as a timer. Okay, this is a 16-bit resistor, let us say, and what I have here is a crystal. Let us say my crystal is 12 megahertz. Okay, and I am transferring 12 megahertz frequency to this timer. So basically what I am transferring to my timer is this square wave. Okay, so on each rising edge, this rising edge, my timer count will increment by 1. So here I'll increment my time. I'm not going to increment, it will be done itself. Okay, I'm not going to drop bottle over here. Who is dropping bottle over here? The conveyor that carries it, the bottle that is going to drop here. Same way, this is my frequency. So who is going to do it? 8051 is going to do it. How? So it knows, like, there are basically inside there are transistors and things. So whenever this rising edge appear at that time, this timer will increment by 1 on each rising edge, let us say. Okay, that's first one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually counting number of pulses that I can see. Okay, because see, from here to here, this is my one pulse I can see. This is my second pulse. This is my third pulse. So even though I'm counting rising edge only, but if this is periodic, when it is periodic, whenever I represent in terms of frequency, then it's periodic. Obviously, it's periodic. So in that case, I can represent it in form of pulses also. Okay, so I can say here I have received 3 pulses. Can I say it or not? Yeah, I can say it. No issue in that. Now what I'm going to do? Now I know the number inside here. Now I have no number inside. What's number over there? But what if I want to convey this number in time representation? How I'm going to relate time with that? So it's very easy. I know there are 3 pulses like this. Okay, so if this is related to frequency, like if these are the periodic signal, in that case, if a frequency can be defined, so there is a relation between frequency and time, so I can calculate time here. Okay, so see here also, this 1 bottle per second was, what was that? That was frequency. That was frequency because we are delivering something per second. So that's my frequency. Okay. Same way here I have my frequency. Okay. Let us say that frequency is 1 megahertz. So I'm going to change this to 1 megahertz. Let's say my frequency is 1 megahertz. Okay, so what I can find out? I can find out T. How I'm going to find out T? 1 upon F. Okay, so 1 by 1 into 10 is to minus 6. Sorry, not minus 6, plus 6. Okay, so what I get is 1 into 10 to minus 6 second. Okay, so 1 upon hertz is basically second. So what I get is 1 microsecond. So what I know now is to require this 1 pulse. Okay, that's the period, that's the periodic signal. So this time is T, and actually that time is 1 microsecond. Okay, that means I can say 1 pulse is received per microsecond. Am I correct or wrong? Just you have to reply with yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, so basically, if I can say like this, now if you look at this and you look at your example with the bottle, that's the same thing. 1 bottle per second, and here 1 pulse per second. Now if I am accumulating 3 pulse over here, what is the time? What is the time? Come on, answer.
Microseconds.
Sorry, Manish.
Pulse is 3 microseconds.
3 microseconds. Okay, so basically 3 pulses 3 microseconds. How we are going to find it out? So we know that 1 pulse requires 1 microsecond. What about 3 pulses? Okay, so basically there's 3 into 1, and that's 3 microseconds. So this is the scenario. That's why this is known as timer. Basically this is actually accumulating a numbers. Okay, but that number is coming from what? That number is coming from this signal. This signal is what? This signal is basically generated by crystal, and crystal generates a periodic signal that we know, and we represent that in terms of frequency. Okay, the frequency is already provided to you. So from that frequency, what I have done, from that frequency, I have related that directly with this number. Okay, that's how your timer works. This is the basic of timer. If you understand this, there is nothing to worry. Like everything is clear now. There is no issue. Okay, so this is basic timer. There is no second, no minute, no hour. There is no like this is not a real timer. That's false. First thing, real timer module. That means if you can say right now 9:24 a.m. So this timer is not going to do this kind of thing. What is going to do it? It's kind of stopwatch thing. Okay, you start it, it will start from that point only. It will just let you know how many number of seconds has been passed. Okay, this is that timer. This is kind of stopwatch timer. Actually, not even a stopwatch. That's a different example. But what this timer is going to do? This timer is going to just provide you a time frame, like how many number of second or number of microsecond or number of millisecond is passed since you have started that timer. Okay, it is not going to provide your real time. It's not going to say like 9:24 a.m. is time right now. It is not going to say like that. Okay, for that, this kind of thing, if you need this time, there is other module. There is other module known as RTC. This is real timer clock. That's the module name. This module is available directly. You can interface with 8051 if you need real time. Real time is this time. This is known as real time. But other than that, there is this timer. What this timer is going to do? This timer is going to provide you a reference time. For example, here, if 100 bottles accumulated over here, you know it's 100 microsecond. Sorry, 100 second. Okay, if 120 bottles are there, you know it's a 120 second, or you can say 2 minutes. But does that information require what time is it now? Does that information contain what time is it now? Like if I ask you, like 120 bottle is dropped inside this bin, what is the time right now? Can you answer that question? No, we cannot answer that question. Why? Because this is directly related to per second I accumulate one bottle. I know that. Okay. And I at that time I am not aware about the real time. So I cannot calculate the real time based on this number of bottle incoming. For that you need a watch. Okay. Or in this case you need RTC. So this is not that timer. This timer just like calculate the times. Okay. From one moment to other moment, what is the time? Okay. So this timer can calculate times in microseconds or seconds or milliseconds. So that's all like related with each other. So this is that timer. Now let's see how this timer works. Okay, this is very basic. Now let's see how actually a timer is going to work. See, so your timer is basically two registers. The two registers are named as, one is THX and other one is TLX. Okay. What is THX and what is TLX? This is timer higher byte and this is my timer lower byte. What's the difference between this? There is no difference as you have only 8-bit processing power with your 8051. That's why to have large number of time, to calculate large times, you have 16-bit formation in like two 8-bit formation, and combinedly it's work as 16-bit formation. So your timer can start with 0 0 0 0 and it can go up to which number? It can go up to which number? It's F because it's 16-bit. So 16-bit, largest 16-bit number is this. Okay, in terms of decimal you can say 65535. That's the largest number. So starting from 0 it will go up to this point. That's why it is a 16-bit time. So this is how a 16-bit timers look like. There are only two registers, THX and TLX. Now let's discuss about the connection. Okay, how these things are connected over here. Now the diagram I am going to draw is not the actual diagram. That's the first thing. Okay, I'll let you see actual diagram, but if I show you actual diagram right now, you will be scared. That's why I'm not showing you actual diagram. This is the first thing. Okay, so like I go with the baby steps and I'll draw the full diagram. Okay, so up to this point, we know there is this crystal. Not here. Let me do it somewhat here. Okay, so I know that that's my. So I know this is my crystal. That's the first point. Okay. Now internally, this is my crystal. Okay. Which crystal that I'm going to connect to the pins XTAL1 and XTAL2. We have seen that two pins in last lecture. So here I'm going to connect the crystal. Let's say this is my 12 megahertz crystal. Okay. So I am having my crystal frequency is to be 12 megahertz. Now, as soon as this crystal goes away, like after this crystal, there is one more internal unit to the timer, and that is a division factor, and that is always divided by 12. So what actually we are feeding to timer, and here my timer. This is my timer. I am just writing timer here because I have to change it later. So this is a crystal, this is division by 12, and this is the input to the timer. Okay. So what would be the frequency at this point? I need responses from you. What would be the frequency here?
1 megahertz.
1 megahertz, correct. 1 megahertz is the frequency to the timer input. Now, if you have to calculate the number of pulses coming in, number of pulses per second, what would be that here for timer? What would be the incoming pulses rate? So this is my frequency input. Okay. So number of pulses per second, what would be the rate of pulses coming to this timer? Can you calculate it? Yes. How you are going to calculate it? Very simple. You know the frequency, input frequency to timer. Okay. So we have to calculate based on this frequency and not this frequency. This is a crystal frequency. Okay. So that two are different. So F crystal is 12 megahertz. Timer input, F timer. Input to timer is F crystal divided by 12, and that is 12 by 12 here, so it is 1 megahertz. And from 1 megahertz you can find out your T timer. Okay, that is 1 by F timer. Okay, and that would be 1 upon 1 mega. So I can say it's 1 microsecond. So I can say one pulse will be coming in per microsecond. Okay. So I am not going to have it in this form, but I am going to have it in this form. One pulse per microsecond. I can say it like that. Okay. Or rather, you can say one pulse in 1 microsecond. Okay. Clear up to this point? Clear up to this point? Any questions? Now I'm going to modify this timer like very fast. Okay. I'm going to draw a lot of things around this timer. So if you are clear up to this point, I can move ahead. Otherwise, I have to explain it again. Reply me with yes or no. Sorry? I didn't get you. Yeah, anyone have any question? Okay, if you are not replying, I'll go ahead. Okay, so here, this is the scenario. Okay, you are receiving 1 microsecond. In 1 microsecond, you are receiving one pulse. Okay, so now to control this is right now not controlled. Okay, what will happen as soon as you start this thing? will start shooting up with this frequency, like this frequency will appear, and your timer will start from 000 and it will start counting. Okay, whether or not you require it to count or you do not require it to count, it will start counting. Okay, and we do not want it. That's why there is a control to this timer. We have a control bit for this timer. Okay. So what's that control bit? That control bit is, see how I have connected that control bit is this. What is this? This is, what is this? What I have drawn? What is this? My
I think
drawing
screen is freeze. Screen is freeze, right?
Okay, just a moment. Okay, are you able to see that now? This thing. Are you able to see this thing? Can you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is this? What I have drawn here? Like my drawing may be very bad, but this kind of, yeah, correct. That's end. Okay, this is my end gate. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, very basic question. If this is my end gate, okay, and this is my output. Now if, let us say this on input A, okay, let us say this is A, this is B, and this is output. So if on my pin A, if I provide 1 and if I provide 0 over here, what I'll get?
0.
Correct? Okay. And same way, if I provide a 0 over here and 1 over here, again I'll get 0. So you know the logic of AND gate. Okay. Now the question is, what if I provide frequency over here? Let us say I am inputting a frequency over here like this. Let's say this frequency is 1 megahertz, and this bit, the other bit is 0. What would be the output?
So it will still be 0.
Will be 0. Okay, correct. Now let's modify the question. I am going to change this input bit to 1. The other input bit is 1 and 1 is the frequency.
So when the frequency,
What would be the output?
so when the frequency gets high, the output becomes 1.
Correct. So what I'll get is actually this same thing that I have here. What would be the frequency of the output?
1 megahertz.
Okay, 1
1
megahertz.
mega.
Correct. So if I input a 1 megahertz signal to the AND gate, and if the other bit is 1, at that time I'll get same exact replica at the output, and that would be a 1 megahertz signal. Okay. So in short, I'm not changing the frequency at this point. The whatever is the input would be the output if I connect AND gate in between. Okay. So there is no issue if I connect AND gate to control this. So why I have connected an AND gate is basically to control the timer. Now see, let's see how I'm going to control it. So the other part, other bit, this other bit is known as timer control bit, and it is named as TRX. Okay. What is TRX? TRX is known as timer run bit. Now, can you say if TRX is equal to 1, my timer will start? Can you say that? And if TRX is equal to 0, my timer will stop. What does a timer stop means? It stop incrementing. It stop incrementing. Okay. Why it will stop? Because what you get at the output here, when this bit is 0, you'll get 0. That's why it will stop. Okay. That's why it is not going to count anything. Okay. So can I say this TRX is able to control this whole timer? Correct or not? This TRX is controlling this timer. I am correct or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This TRX is basically a timer control bit known as timer run bit. Okay. This is like category is timer control bit. It is going to it is the functionality is there to control the timer, but what it is going to control, it is going to control the operation, whether timer run or whether timer stops. That's been decided based on this bit. So this is a bit. TRX is a timer run bit, name is timer run bit, and if it is 1, timer will start. If it's 0, timer will stop. Okay, now see what's happened. As soon as I turn on this bit, like as soon as I write 1 at this place, okay, if I write 1 at this place, what will happen? Here a frequency will appear, and due to that my timer will start counting. Let's assume, okay, what I'm doing, I'm assuming things. So I'm assuming my timer start from this number 0000. I am talking about hexadecimal. Okay, so let us say 0x00. So after each received pulse, what will happen? This will increment. It will go to 001, 0002, so on, so forth. At one point of time, it will reach where? It will reach at this point. This is the largest possible number. What will happen if I still go on and one more pulse appear over here? What will happen? Again, it will start incrementing. But what happen, as soon as it increments, it will get 0000. Okay. Now, why only 000? Actually, what I'll get is 0x100000. But right now, timer is only 16 bits, so we are going to able to see only this thing, and this would be my carry. Rather than that, let's say this is my overflow. Okay, if you are continuing, like if you pour a glass of water, and though the glass is like full, and still you try to pour some water, what will happen? It will overflow. The excess amount of water will spill out. Same way here, this is full and I am going to increment it by 1. So what will happen? It will overflow. What is overflow? Overflow is this one. Okay. Whenever there is overflow, it will be only one single overflow. Okay, and this one is known as overflow bit. This one is known as overflow bit. Okay. So whenever timer overflows, you have this overflow bit, and there is one more control bit for your timer. Okay, so let's draw that part where you have overflow. So at this end here, I have my timer overflow bit, and it is known as TFX. Okay, what is it? It is timer overflow bit. What is TF is equal to 1 and what is TF equal to 0 means? What does a TF equal to 1 means? TFX is equal to 1. What does that mean? That overflow has occurred. And what does 0 means? No overflow. Okay, that's very basic meaning. We are going to see the deep meaning of this. But right now, as of the things going on, I can say TFX is equal to 1 means overflow has occurred. Now we are going to evaluate what does that mean. What does overflow means? Like why it is very important. Okay, so see what happens. Why the TFX bit is very important to me or even you is we are calculating number of pulses coming in from this signal. Okay, we had started with 0000. We had reached up to this number FFFF, and then I am going to again provide a one more pulse. Okay, so what will happen? It will start overflow. Okay, and if it overflows, what happens? See, it comes back where we have started. So again, you are like losing the whole thing. Okay, you are losing 4 bits of data, 4 byte of data. This is like 2 byte of data, not 4 byte. You are losing 2 byte of data, and that information is very essential. Okay, like let's go back to this example where you have this bottle of like your Coca-Cola bottle was dropping here. Now if there is, let's assume this is a container, and if the container is filled up, like 1 lakh bottle has been dropped, this container goes out and a new container come in. So what's the production of the day? What you will say? By looking at just the new container, or you will also look at the old container? Answer me. If one container is filled up, okay, let's say one container was there. Let us say this is my old container. It's full with all the bottles. Okay, let's say the count is 1 lakh. And now I have placed a new container here, and the count inside here is 1000. Okay, 1000 bottle has been dropped. Now if I ask you what's the day production for today, what's the production of today of Coca-Cola, what you will say? 1000? Yes or no?
No.
No, sir.
No.
1001.
What we'll do
1.
is we'll go with the old data and we'll add this new data to that thing, and that's my 1,10,000 is the count. Same way here, what we are losing is this data. Okay, we have reached 10,000, and once you reach 10,000, what you will see actually is again a 0000. Okay, so that's why this one is important, and that one is being transferred to this bit known as timer overflow flag, where this is timer overflow. The actual name is timer overflow flag bit. So what does that do? A flag bit will represent something, some event. Okay, whenever there is a flag, flag represents something. For an example, if a war is going on between India and Pakistan, and if you have a white flag, what does that mean? That we require peace. Do not attack. Okay, we require peace right now. We are not going to attack. You are not going to attack. That's the representation. If you have Indian flag, so what does that represent? That's represent an India as a country. Okay. Same way, this is my flag bit. What flag bit? This is timer overflow flag bit. What it will show? It will show if a timer has overflow. Why that thing is important? Because you have some events going on inside a timer, and due to that a overflow has occurred. That means your timer has reset. Now to handle that reset, it has provided as in terms of overflow. So by looking at overflow, you know that there is some data that has been processed. Now let's assume we have started with 000, we have reached up to FFFF. Okay, so the total count of pulses would be 65536. Let's assume 5, no issue with the 5 also. Okay, what is the incoming pulse rate? Is 1 pulse per 1 microsecond. Okay, so 1 pulse per 1 microsecond is the rate of incoming pulses. Now if a timer has 65535, that does that mean it has this number of pulses received? 65535 pulses received inside a timer. If I reach at this number, does that mean this thing 65535 pulses is already received? And what happened after that? I start incrementing it by 1, so it gets 0000 with 1 overflow. So whenever overflow is appeared, at that time, total number of pulses received by timer is this. Am I correct or not? Am I correct or not? See, I have started from this number. I have reached at this number. Why I have reached this number? Because there is an incoming frequency, and due to this frequency, there are pulses inside this frequency. So due to that pulses, this timer is incrementing. Okay, it has started with 000. On first pulse will 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. It has reached up to this FFFFF. Okay, so it is reached at FFFF. That means the number of pulses received is this 65535. Am I correct or not?
Yes.
The only thing is this is hexadecimal and this is decimal. That's why you will see like FFFF is represented as 65535. Otherwise, everything is correct. Okay. So each time your timer overflow, that means this number of pulses is received. Okay. And if this is the number of pulses received, when you get overflow, can you calculate it? Yes, I can calculate it. These are the number of pulses. So what is the time? So time is 65535 pulses into 1 microsecond. So I can say it is 65.535 millisecond passed. Okay. As soon as I start the timer from this bit, okay, after 65.535 millisecond, my timer overflow will appear. That's the one way to say it, or I can say it in the other way. As soon as I have received the timer overflow bit, that means the timer is running for 65.535 millisecond. So basically this overflow can help you in calculate the time. Okay, now again I am starting with 0000. again one more overflow will appear. Okay, so this overflow will be removed. What will happen? Again I'll reach up to FFFF, and again overflow will occur. Okay, so you can, what you can say is 65 plus 65.535 millisecond has been passed. So this is the way you are going to calculate a time. Clear? Still I am not at the point where I am going to calculate a time. Still just this is explanation to the theory, like how things works inside the timer. Clear or not?
It's a microsecond or millisecond.
It's a millisecond, like it's a microsecond, but if I write it, it is microsecond. 65,535 microsecond, but if I convert it to millisecond, it would be 65.535 millisecond. So that is the same thing. That's just the micro to milli conversion.
Okay.
Okay, this is the number 65535 microseconds. Now I am giving you a new task. Okay, see what is the task? Task is to generate let us say 1000 microsecond delay. I ask you to design 1000 microsecond delay. So how you are going to do that now? Okay, let's see an example. Suppose these are the stairs. Okay. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, this is my start. Let us say this is not starting point, but let us say this is a finish point. Okay, there are rules. We are going to play a game, and there are rules to this game. The rules are you can take a single step. Okay. If you are asked to move by one step, okay, you can only take one step. Like if you are standing at position 1, you will go here. Okay. You are allowed only one step move. That's the first rule. And the second thing is, I ask you to reach to the finish line in 5 moves. What you will do? There are no other rules. Okay, there are just these 2 rules. You have to reach on the finish line by in 5 moves, and one move cannot be larger than one step. What you will do? In 5 moves you have to reach at finish line. You cannot move, like your one move cannot be larger than one step. So at any point of time, one move is counted as one step. Okay. What you will do?
One move count as step.
Yeah, correct. Or let us say in 5 steps you have to reach finish line. What will do?
Taking 2 steps in one.
Then that's not allowed. You have to only take one step at a time. See, the thing is, I have not shown you where I'll start. So does that mean something?
Yes, I will start with number 5 step.
Correct. I can directly start from here. There are no other rules. There are only 2 rules. So if I start with this step, okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so sorry, this is my first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So in 5 steps I can reach here. How? By changing the starting point. Okay, by changing the starting point, what I can do? I can reach at the destination with provided moves. That's the thing. So same way, the same thing that I'm going to do over here with this 1000 microsecond. Now the thing is, this timer overflow, like you cannot read this timer continuously. You can just look at the timer overflow status. If timer overflow flag set, that means your timer overflow. So what I have to do now is I just want 1000 microsecond delay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to trick this timer. I'm going to trick this timer in such a way that as soon as the 1000 completes, my timer overflow appears. Okay, so same things here. I know my finish line. My finish line is what? Now let's assume with the same example, my finish line is 65535 steps away. Like this is the last step, or this is the final step. This is the finish line. Okay. You are allowed only 1000 moves or 1000 steps only allowed. So what would be your starting position? 65535 minus 1000. Okay, so that would be 64535 would be my starting position. So same thing that I'm going to do over here. Okay, now let's see how to do this. Let's see that how I'm going to do this. See what I'm going to do. This is my required time delay. So I know I require 1000 microsecond delay. First of all, you have to find out T. Okay, but in this example, we already know T. What is T? T is 1 microsecond. Okay, so if I want 1000 microsecond delay, number of pulses required. How many number of pulses will require? How to do that? If 1 microsecond is the time period, that means I can say 1 microsecond for 1 pulse. Okay, so I know time for 1 pulse. I can say in 1 microsecond, I am receiving 1 pulse. So what about 1000 microsecond? So it would be 1000
pulse.
divided by 1. That means 1000 pulse is required. So I have received my first point. That's I require 1000 pulse. Now if I start my timer with 0000, I can go up to 65535. These are number of pulses I can get in my timer. Okay, but I do not want it. What I want is I want only 1000 pulses. So what I can do, if I want only 1000 pulses, okay, and then I need my timer overflow flag to set. Okay, timer overflow flag is very important. We are going to monitor this flag only. We are going to monitor this. Okay, so until and unless this set, you do not know whether timer is like considered 1000 or 2000 or 3000. You are not aware about that. So what I am going to do now is I am going to start my timer. Okay, when timer overflow flag appears is 65535. Okay, so I know that it will appear at this moment. So I'm going to less 1000 and 64535. I'll set this as my start point. This is my start point. So if I start from here, now see what does that mean? If I start from here, I'll start with this number in my timer. Okay, after each pulse received, it will reach at 65535 at some point of time, and when it reach here, what would be the time? What would be the time to reach here? We require 1000 pulses. Okay, so 1000 pulses is there. Okay, so what is the time? We have calculated the time. We have started with time itself. So 1000 microsecond is the time. So what is the time? 1000 microsecond is 10. So see how I have tricked my timer to work for only 1000 microsecond. What I have done is tricked my timer to work only for 1000 microsecond. And how have I done that? I have changed my starting position. Instead of starting from 0000, where I have started is this number. Instead of starting at 0000, I have started at the different number, and that number is 64535. By starting at this number, okay, if I load this number, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to load this 64535 inside my timer, and then I'm going to provide a start bit. Then I'm going to start my timer. Okay. Once I start my timer, what will happen? This frequency will appear at this input of timer. It will start incrementing, and some point of time I'll receive the timer overflow flag. Okay. So when I receive this timer overflow flag, that means 1000 microsecond is done. Why I can say that? Because I have tricked the timer in that way. What I have done, I started with this number. Okay, I let the timer run. As soon as timer start to run, after how many number of step it will overflow? It will overflow after 1000 numbers. Okay, why? Because it has started with 64535. So at 65535 it will overflow, As soon as overflow, what does that mean? If it overflow, it means we have received 1000 pulses, or in terms of time, you can say it has 1000 microsecond is passed. So we have achieved our target. See, what we want is to generate 1000 microsecond delay. We have generated 1000 microsecond delay. Okay, what is the moment of 1000 microsecond delay? So starting from this point, when you write TRX is equal to 1, okay, when you set the timer run bit, this is timer run bit, so you can set it and reset it by writing this in this way. Okay, as soon as you set your timer bit 1 up to your timer overflow flag set to 1, okay, who is going to do that? This is done automatically. You are not going to do this. This is automatic task. Okay, so when this one occurs at that time, okay, between the time taken between this two steps is 1000 microseconds. So you let timer run, and when it finishes, you know that by looking at timer overflow flag. So this is how I'm going to generate a time delay. Okay, now there is a whole lot of things that you have to set up to do this way. Okay, we are going to see it with a full example. Okay, and like this is the most simplest way of drawing the timer. Actual drawing is very complex. I'm going to show it you in a moment, but if you understand this, then you will be able to program. We'll start programming tomorrow, no issue in that. We'll start programming tomorrow, but this information is required before programming, like how why we require 65435 in timer and not 000. That information if you understand, then and then you will be able to program time. Okay, okay, no responses, that means you are saying yes, you understand this concept. Now I'm going to show you one more data sheet. Even I'm going to share this data sheet with you, so nothing to worry. And the thing that I want to show you is, yeah, correct, save it over here. Okay. See, the actual timer diagram, it will take a lot of time to draw, but I'm going to show it directly to you. This one, not this one. Yeah. See, this is the actual diagram. Okay. I'm going to explain this whole diagram in details. No issue. Do not worry about it. But this is the diagram. Okay. So you can see here TL and TH. Okay. Though it's 5-bit, it's like two variants available. So consider it to be 8-bit right now. Okay. Let's explain. Let me explain this to you. See, this is the diagram. Now let's consider here. This is not 5, but this is 8-bit. Okay. So let's see how timer works. This is my oscillator. Okay. So instead of crystal, it is known as oscillator, internal oscillator. Okay. So basically here you have connected a crystal. So XTL pins are connected to this too. So if you have 12 megahertz crystal, your oscillator will have 12 megahertz frequency. That's the thing. That division by D. Okay. This can be like 12 or 6 based on the operation of mode, but we'll only focusing on 12-bit mode. That's why we have a division by 12 over here. Then as soon as you have 12, okay, there is a selection now. See here. This is a selection bit. Okay, and this selection is between a timer and a counter. We'll focus on timer or counter later. Like counter later on. Right now we are discussing about timer. So to have it in timer mode, what you have to do is you have this bit CT bar equal to 0. Okay, CT bar is the bit. Okay, so to program it as a timer, you have to write CT bar equal to 0, and to program it as a counter, you have to write CT bar equal to 1. Okay, so T is for timer, so T bar, it's active function. So 0 is active function. So by writing CT equal to 0, you are programming it as a timer, and by writing CT equal to 1, you are programming as a counter. How it happens? See, there is a selection switch. So if it's 0, it will move here. If it is 1, it will move here. Okay, so by writing it 0, you are selecting timer. Why? Because you are connected here. So we have seen in the diagram, if your crystal is feeding your timer, in that case, you can calculate time. Counter is although different function. Okay, we'll discuss about counter later on. Okay, so right now I have connected in this way. Okay, how I have connected in this way? By writing CT equal to 0. Okay, by selecting timer operation. Then you can see here a control bit. Okay, so this is basically shown as a gate. Okay, so how this gate is going to control? See, the control is from here, this AND gate. Okay, now this AND gate has two input. One is TRN, or you can say our TRX in this case, and the other one is from this line, and here there is a OR gate where you have two more options, and there you have timer and gate bit, this bit. So gate bit, we are starting with gate bit 0, then I'll ask you what happens when I'll let you know when gate bit is 1 what will happen, but right now we'll start with gate bit to 0. Okay, what does that mean? Gate 0 means software control of timer. Just remember this line, software control of timer by having gate equal to 0, and if you have gate equal to 1, then you are controlling your timer from hardware. What does that mean? I'll explain you later, but right now we are focusing on this gate 0. Okay, so if my gate is 0, NOT gate output would be 1, OR gate output would be 1. Whatever the status of this, I am not going to consider it because this is OR gate. So if 1 is 1, output is 1. Okay, so I have 1 at this place. Now if I want to run my timer, what I have to do? I have to provide 1. Okay, so 1 and 1, it will close the switch. If I want to stop my timer, what I'll do? I'll write TRX is equal to 0. This one will 0. Okay. Still this will remain as it is. Okay. So 0 ending with 1, answer would be 0, and this switch will open. So see, the timer is still controlling. Although we have seen very simple diagram, but still the thing is same. If timer bit is equal to 1, run bit is equal to 1, then timer will start. Otherwise, timer will stop. Okay, so still control is the same. Okay, then that output is feed to 16-bit register, that is TL and TN, and then you have your timer overflow flag here and interrupt. Okay, whatever part that you do not understand right now will be covered later on. We'll cover it later on, but the information that was required to program is this: you require gate to be 0, counter timer bit to be 0. Okay, now let's see, like if I say counter timer bit, or if I say a gate bit, or if I say timer overflow flag bit, where that bits are, like is there any assumptive, like is there any existing bit? Yes, this is a part of one SFR. Okay, there are basically two SFR. One is this T mode, timer mode, and the other one is this one TCON. These two SFR combinedly will control the timer. Okay, some bits are in TCON and some bits are in T mode. Okay, now let's check what are the bits of T mode and TCON and why this is known as SFR. This is the actual SFR. If you write some bits 1 or some bit 0, the timer or counter function will change accordingly. So first information that you require is there are two timers in your 8051. There are two timers in your 8051. Timer are known as timer 0 and timer 1. Okay, so whenever I am talking about timer 0, this X will take 0. Okay? And whenever I talk about timer 1, this X will become 1. So if I say TR0, that is timer control bit or timer run bit of timer 0. If I say TR1, that's timer 1 control bit or timer 1 run bit. Okay, so there are two timers. Same way, if I have TLX and THX, so timer 0 register is TL0 and TH0, and your timer 1 register is TL1 and TH1. That means your X can have value 0 or 1. Depending on the timer, it will change. Okay, so there are two timers known as timer 0 and timer 1. Both timers can be controlled through the single bit known as T mode and Tcon. That's two SFRs are there using which you are going to control a timer. Now let's look inside what a T mode looks like. So T mode is a 8-bit register. So these are the 8 bits. What are the 8 bits? Like, what is the difference? So first, lower side 4 bits are related to timer 0 and the upper timer 1. Okay, so these are the 4 bits with timer 1. Now, as I said, you gate should be 0. So gate is actually this bit. So if you write 0 here, you are writing 0 at this point here. Okay, so to set this 0, where you have to write? You have to write inside your SFR. Okay, same way, if I want my timer 0 to run as a timer, I have to write CT bar equal to 0 over here. Okay, so when I write 0 over here, what will happen? This switch will go on this side in timer 0. Okay, and mode 0 and mode 1, M0, M1 are 2-bit which will decide the mode. We will discuss about mode later on. Okay, but right now for 16-bit mode, we require this to be 0 and 1. That I will call later. And the timer control bit have this register TF0, TR0, TR1 and TF1. Okay, so if I want my timer 0 to run, what I have to do? I have to write 1 at this place. Okay, I have to write this bit to be 1. Same way, if I want to my timer 1 to run, I have to write 1 over here. Then if I want to check whether timer overflow has occurred for timer 0, then I have to check this TF0. Okay, that's part of Tcon. Okay, so these 2 bits are there, 2 bytes, two SFRs are there, using which you are going to control a timer. So whatever I say like gate or TR0 or TF0 or CT, that's part of some register, either T mode or Tcon. You have to remember this both register, the structure, all the bits. You have to also remember this thing. You have to remember this diagram. You have to remember this diagram as well as this diagram. We are going to cover all the diagrams. But right now we are focused on this diagram. Okay, we'll stop here for the today's session. If you have any question, you can ask.